the most fascinating game, the most exciting one for me this week is Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville going over to Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas, however you want to define it. Because Trevor Lawrence has never lost a Saturday game. PC, you watch these two teams go head-to-head in Week 10. How are you feeling coming into this game? Is there anything specifically that comes off the tip of your tongue immediately?
Well, yeah. The Jaguar. So I was watching. I wanted to refresh my memory on this game, right? So last night, I turned on the highlights on YouTube, and to my surprise, the first play of the game was an onside kick by Jacksonville, and I completely forgot that that had happened. So that just goes to show you that I told you on our Wednesday show, our last episode, that it's going to be Doug Pederson versus Andy Reid, and these coaches are going to try and outdo each other. All right, it's a one-upsmanship. They're gonna anything you can do, I can do better. So Doug Pederson, right out the gate, goes for an onside kick, gets the recovery. They have to punt the ball, but nevertheless, they're still showing that Andy, I'm knocking on the doorstep. This is going to be a battle all day long. So, and on top of that, the field goal kicker for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think his name is Riley Patterson, if I'm not mistaken. I might be getting that wrong. But he missed, he was 1 for 3 on field goal attempts in that game. So if he makes both his field goals, then that game could be 23 to 27, different ball game. But neither here nor there. Going into this game, I thought, so Kansas City, obviously the offense, they're number one in the league, right? In passing and total offense. Rushing, they're 20th in the league. So I looked up Jacksonville's defense because I wanted to see how Jacksonville would stack up. And I think that they're going to have a little bit of a tough night in certain aspects because Jacksonville is 24th in the league in total yards allowed per game, 28th in passing, 12th in rushing, 12th in points allowed, 26th in sacks, which is that's not good, especially going up against Kansas City's offensive line, which is very good. And
Not at the tackle spots, but in the interior, it's good.
I mean, Orlando Brown's a good left tackle. You're muted, John.
He's one of those guys, bro, that makes it to the Pro Bowl, but he's been a turnstile this season. I'll keep it a stack with you, bro. He should
Okay,
not have
but
been voted.
overall, his talent does speak for itself, and he has played very well in the past, so he's got that in him. Um, they allow an 89 passer rating. They're +5 in turnover ratio, but they got 27 takeaways, which is tied for third. So that's good. Maybe that they did get an interception on Patrick Mahomes in their in their Week 10 matchup. So they're gonna have. It's probably gonna be a tough night for Jacksonville's defense. Guys are gonna have to make some plays. Uh, Trayvon Walker, #1 overall pick. This is your time to shine, buddy. It's the big stages. You got to go out there and you got to get it. As for the offense on Jacksonville going up against Kansas City's defense, listen, I say this a lot. Kansas City's defense is obviously not that good, but in total offense, I mean, allowed yards allowed per game, they're 11th, which is damn near top 10. That's freaking really good. They're 18th in passing, 8th in rushing. I think that has more to do with the fact that Kansas City can get up, and then teams have to play from behind, and then they're just gonna have to start passing, so they're not running the ball a lot. They're 16th in points allowed, second in sacks, which is incredible. I mean, Chris Jones had an incredible year. He was a defensive player of the year candidate to some people. But this is not good about Kansas City. They're -3 in their turnover ratio. They got 22 total takeaways, which is lower middle of the pack, and 23 giveaways, which is middle of the pack. So Jacksonville's offense is going to have a little bit of a trouble dealing with the pass rush of Kansas City. But I think the way Trevor Lawrence is playing, I think the way Travis Etienne is running, he didn't have a good game their first matchup. And taking into consideration possible rain, Jacksonville's they're live dogs in this game. I know I'm picking Kansas City. With all that being said, I'm picking Kansas City, but Jacksonville's a live dog, and I think that they can make this game very, very interesting, especially with the play calling. I'm going to be keeping a keen eye out for the play calling of this game, seeing what Dougie P and Andy Reid got to pull up their sleeves and stuff like that. It's going to be a great, great game.
You know what's the craziest thing? So, last throw was what, Tuesday night that we recorded, and I had said things that I wish I didn't say, and because I started to really rethink everything. I had said I think the Jaguar season is coming to an end this week. I think the magic is over. But the more I think about it, I keep having this argument with myself about how playoff football is so unpredictable, how you just never can expect what's going to happen. You might have a fumble on a kickoff, a muffed punt, a kick return, strip sack that puts you in great territory. You just never know. Or you could have a Brett Mayer kind of game where you miss a bunch of extra points and then you never know if a team can capitalize on it. The playoffs are a tricky, tricky game. There's no way that we can just guarantee W's to really anybody, even though that's what we do with our pick 'em. But I think I'm going to change how I feel about this one. Trevor Lawrence last year, just to read off his stats, 12 touchdowns and 17 interceptions, 3,641 passing yards. Those are just his passing stats. Obviously, it was an ugly rookie season, almost to the likes of what Peyton Manning had in his first year. His second year comes around, 25 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions, plus 5 more rushing touchdowns. That's 30 TDs for a guy that was just struggling to scrap up 15 touchdowns in his first year. A complete turnaround. And I don't know, man. Trevor Lawrence has played in some big games in his career. I don't think he's afraid of any moment that's going to come for him in the NFL. He's played on the biggest stage in college. Now he's played in a wild card round, was down 27-0, came back, no hesitation in his mind. And I saw one video, I forgot who was talking to him on the sideline, but Trevor Lawrence goes, here we go. And somebody tells him on the sideline, yo, we got you. Just do you. Like, one play at a time, and we have your back. These people on his team love him. After that game, they went to Waffle House.
Waffle House found its new host.
There's a team bond there that this Jacksonville Jaguars team has. And I mean, all the credit goes to Doug Pederson for turning this thing around. I'm going to sing a different tune than I did on Tuesday, and I'm going to stick by it this time. I think the Jaguars upset the Chiefs this Sunday.
Damn.
Or Saturday, right?
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah. I think the Jaguars upset the Chiefs on Saturday. I'm going to roll with Trevor Lawrence. I think the one thing that my X factor is the Jaguars have to get off to a solid start. They cannot be playing catch up with the Chiefs. You cannot fall behind 27-0 to the Chiefs. You cannot fall behind even 13-0 to this Chiefs team. No, you got to be in there. You got to keep it close. One possession game the whole way through, because you can strike. Because you're bound to that something is bound to happen. It's like I said, it's playoff football. Something wonky will happen. So as long as the Jaguars stay in this game, I think they'll win it.
Well, if they're in this game, it can go a lot of different ways. A couple of fun things to this matchup. The Chiefs are almost entirely healthy, with the exception of Frank Clark, who's questionable with a shoulder injury. The last time these two teams played in Week 10, Kadarius Toney was being introduced to Kansas City. He scores his first touchdown, and he does a fake pulled hamstring celebration on his way to the end zone. Disrespectful to Giants fans who were able to win a lot of games this year without him. But I'm looking at this matchup, and the most important thing, like you said, Justin, the Jaguars need to start off strong early. They can't necessarily go 3 and out, and if they have anywhere near 4 interceptions in the first half of this game, Patrick Mahomes is going to hang up 50 to 60 points on their heads. Let me tell you something, though, about these Chiefs. This is where the Chiefs season starts, right here. They won 14 games this regular season, and the entire year, I talked to Brandon about it before, they're weak at tackle, and they don't necessarily have the number 1 receiver. But that being said with these Chiefs, bro, their defense is severely underrated. I don't want to hear the talk they have a below average defense because this is not true. The secondary's solid. The pass rush is pretty good. The linebackers are pretty good. It's just not true. Last year, their defense was one of the best in football by the postseason up until that game versus the Bills. I look at this team, and with the best player in football, I think Kansas City is going to win this game comfortably. I do think it'll be competitive up until the end, but with Patrick Mahomes, I'm not in doubt about this game. Last year was a different story with Cincinnati. And I look at this offense today with Andy Reid, kind of like Kyle Shanahan when they lost Jimmy Garoppolo. It's really made them dig deeper into their bag of tricks this season with no Tyreek Hill. And for Patty Mahomes, I think this is the moment where he says, this is where our season begins. Like, we're messing around, having fun, doing what was it against the Raiders in the Week 18 game, Justin? What do you call it?
What?
Help me out here. Come on, going to the touchdown that got called back. The Red Rosie.
On the Rosie?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Kansas City is the biggest and the baddest team in football. I'm pretty high on San Francisco. I think they're the most likely team to win a Super Bowl this year. But there is no team, I think, more domineering in the AFC than Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Listen, I completely agree on that statement. I think the Chiefs, me picking the Jaguars isn't me slighting the Chiefs in any way. It's just me saying there's some other dogs in this house now. Like I've spoken to you guys about the AFC when it comes to the quarterback position, it is absolutely stacked. And what it's going to be for the next couple of years, we can't just hand people AFC title games. The AFC championship game has been routinely Tom Brady and Bill Belichick for years. I don't think we're going to see anything like that again. Now, while it has been like that since Mahomes has gotten in the league, like I said, the quarterbacks have gotten better. I think things will change. You can't just guarantee Mahomes is going to get by Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow every single season or Justin Herbert every year. And the same can be said about them as well. So I'm not going to just, give the Chiefs their flowers. Yeah, their season is just beginning because they had a week off. That's it. I'm going to stick by my pick. I like Jacksonville.
Now, I do like Jacksonville a lot in this game as well because last week, man, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, and Zay Jones, all 70 yards or more, all a touchdown, and all 7 catches at least. This Jacksonville team is good. But Brandon likes to say this saying, there's levels to this. And I'm not quite sure if Jacksonville is ready to dethrone Kansas City the way Cincinnati did a year ago. Now, am I crazy for saying that because Joe Burrow in his second season beat Patrick Mahomes? Maybe. But I like this Kansas City approach, and I have a really hard time here seeing them really go one and done in the postseason. I can't see it, my man. And I think defensively in this game with Steve Spagnuolo and what he can do, this is a more complete, more balanced approach than the Chargers. They can actually churn out yards in the running game. They'll go 20 carries deep. Some of the Chargers couldn't do last week with Eckler. I really think the Chargers, they're going to put up a fight, but ultimately, man, this Kansas City team is different.
So I want to hit on a couple of things. Hopefully my memory can remember. So in terms of, you guys both said that you don't want to see the Jags get down big. So I know it's a regular season game, right? But in that regular season game, Kansas City versus Jacksonville, the Jaguars did get down 20-7. I mean 20-0 at one point. And then they were able to make it 17-27. They held Kansas City to 7 points for the rest of the game. So while obviously it's not ideal, you don't want to be down. I think that they showed that they can come back from that, and obviously last week. But like John said, the Chiefs are different than the Chargers. And the other thing I wanted to hit on, John said that he just can't foresee Kansas City being one and done, and it's because at this point, Kansas City has really become the new New England, where you don't see that. New England, you're like, oh no, New England's not gonna go one and done. You can't see that happening, but then it does happen. So that's why I'm saying I'm not picking Jacksonville, but I'm saying they are live dogs in this game, that they can put up a fight, and I would honestly not be shocked if they pulled off an upset. because listen, it can happen. Any given Sunday, anything can happen. And while I do agree there's levels to this, John, and Kansas City is on another level, but it's that one difference of anything can happen. So this isn't basketball where it's a 7-game series and the best team always wins. Anything can happen. We've seen it.
That's not always true in basketball either, my man. We'll see series where
Yeah,
the
okay,
worst
yes,
teams
but
win, too.
but you know what I mean by that. You know what I mean by that. By the
I'm
7
supporting
series,
your point. In all sports, we never
No.
know. But trace my memory back to this game specifically. I mean, this is the perfect test for Kansas City to start things off. Dougie P, he's coming to Kansas City with some creativity. They're going to open up that last page of the playbook. And Trevor Lawrence, at this point, he's played like a top 5, top 10 quarterback. He has. And if you're going to talk about big-time moments, anything happening, coming back down from a 27-point deficit, that to me is a big-time thing. And this season has been a remarkable one in Jacksonville. Nothing short of it. They've had players step up on the defensive end. Tyson Campbell, that guy is a stud cornerback. No one talks about him. So I'm excited to see how they fare this matchup. I said it'd be a comfortable game. I wouldn't be surprised still if it goes down to the last wire, and I think this will be high scoring. I'll go Kansas City winning 34-27. So yeah, one score game.
I see it reversed.
Yeah, I think maybe 33-30, Kansas City. But what I wanted to ask is, does anybody know if any of the Jacksonville receivers or running backs have played quarterback before? Like in college or
I don't believe so.
no?
Referring to some potential trick play.
I'm referring to a possible, they might call it the Jaggy special, whatever they want to call it, Duval special. Maybe that happens when they're down at like the 5-yard line. They dial it up. You never know. That's what I'm saying. Both of these guys, Andy and Doug, are gonna pull some things out that you guys are gonna go, okay. Because this is a matchup where these guys just want to outdo each other. I'm trying to tell you, they're gonna try and outdo each other.
Jamal Agnew is the player. For the Chiefs, it's Jody Fortson in the red zone. That's the gadget guy. For the Jaguars, it's going to be Jamal Agnew. That guy is a special returner. He is really good.
Yeah, you can
Not many people have been able to figure out the play that Kansas City likes to call, when they're at like the 5 or 3 yard line. I forget how they line up, but it's essentially like Travis is like right next to Pat, and then they like kind of do like a Pat goes this way, and then he just kind of like flips it, and it's like right up the middle for Travis Kelce.
Mhm.
It's a hard these plays that they dial up, they're hard to beat. That's why I like to refer them as your quote unquote money plays. Like these are the plays that you're gonna put all your money on and be like, this is a play that I know is gonna work.
I know this is an away game, but there's a funny stat about the Jaguars' last 5 home games. Not really funny, but more so fascinating. In week 9, they were down 17-0 against the Raiders. They came back and won. In week 12, down 19-10 against the Ravens. They came back and won. In week 15, down 27-10 against the Cowboys. Came back and won. Week 18, down 10-0 against the Titans. Came back and won. And in the wild card round, down 27-0 to the Chargers, came back and won. I know this isn't a home game, but it's hard to count this team out at this point. They've just proven time and time again this year that they're legit, that they can fight, and they're not afraid of any team. I mean, them doing that to the Cowboys and the Cowboys showing this past wild card round just tells you this Jaguars team is pretty damn good.